Ready?
Ready, man.
Hey, what's up, world? It's Coach JV and
Kevin Anytime.
Kevin Anytime. So I'm the CEO, the warrior, the owner. I think the CEO, the same thing? Owner?
Owner, CEO.
Of 3T Fitness.
Warrior.
And Kevin.
Legend.
Kevin's a legend too. And he is the head of production here at 3T Fitness. So we are huge on mindset here at 3T Fitness. We always say this is much bigger than fitness. This is about changing your mind from the inside out. We have deep conversations around mindset in the 3T Fitness Center. We've decided to bring some of these conversations to you guys because the only way to expand your perception of reality, which we're going to talk about today, is through education and through challenging your thinking. So today, I want to talk about your perception is your reality. So first, I want to ask you, Kevin, what does that mean to you? Your perception is your reality.
Well, for me, it's whatever you see in your life. Whatever you're perceiving, whatever you're seeing happen, whatever's happening to you, or what you perceive is happening to you, that is your own personal perception. And I think John really helped me to understand that a little bit more as far as what is going on in your life is really your fault. It's your cause, and you have the power to manipulate that.
Yeah, so I couldn't agree more, right? So your perception is your reality. So whatever's happening in your universal reality, so within your four walls, you would say it, imagine trying to accept that it's your fault. And we often see people struggling with that. People often say to me, Coach JV, your perception's reality. I've heard that my whole life. And when someone says that to me, I think in my head, be careful what you say. Because do you understand what you're saying to somebody? Your perception's your reality. So that means if you tell me my perception's my reality, that means everything in your life is your fault. That means your perception, your circumstances that you're seeing in your life, your perceived reality was caused by you and your mind. So the way to explain this a little bit deeper is, would you agree that someone may not agree with my lifestyle, right? I don't give a flying shit what people think about me. And so often people, you even challenge me on that too. Let's talk a little bit about that. So Kevin had a great question one day. He was like, hey, listen, do you really not care what people think about you? And it's perfect. You had a different perception based on your current reality than I have. So let's talk about that a little bit. You don't have to get deep into why, but what was the question that you asked me?
Yeah, so based off of how I was raised, which was pretty religious, I asked if he thought about stumbling others. And that's, I think, because I've struggled with that myself as far as like what I do and the pictures I post up and everything like that. So I look up to John, so I wanted to ask him to get his opinion on it so I can kind of get some clarification. I was like, man, how do you feel about stumbling others? And I kind of looked that up too as far as what stumbling meant, and it literally said, the definition said to trip. And I'm like, wow, okay, well, I'm not trying to trip anybody, but like, trying to, like, when I think about tripping, it's like sticking your foot out it purposely to make somebody fall over, and I've never tried to do that. So when I was asking Jay about what he thought about that, I just wanted to try and get a different opinion on that.
No, it's awesome, yeah. And so he actually got me to critically think. That's what I like about us at the 3T Fitness Warrior Training Camp, is we get each other to critically think. We talk about high level stuff. We challenge each other, and I actually kept responding to the message because I was critically thinking about it. I'm like, no, I'm not trying to trip anybody up, but I can only trip somebody up based on their perception of the reality. I can't change someone's perception. So if I don't give a shit what people think, that's my own universal reality. They can perceive what I'm saying however they want. And what I believe is that if your perception's your reality, that's your right. So if you think that I'm tripping people up, then that's your perception of reality. But my perception is whatever I do, as long as I wake up every single day and I do the right thing for society, then I shouldn't care what people think. Now, this is what I said back. Now, if I'm doing something wrong, if I'm robbing, stealing, cheating on my wife, being lustful, then I damn well should be worried about what people think. But if I'm doing the right thing every single day with a clear conscience, with trying to serve my community and serve the people around me, then I shouldn't worry about what people think. And if I stumble somebody based on my words, in my podcast I cuss, some people get upset because I say use the F word, things like that. Then if they stumble, that is their own perception of their reality. And the thing that's been tripping me out lately is, think about this. There is no reality outside of your perception. Resonate on that for a second. There is no reality outside of your perception. My father and I have a totally different perception of reality, right? He was raised completely different. You go to work, you get a job, you retire, you don't take a lot of big risk. Nothing wrong with that. His perception is reality. He lived a good life. He was a police officer, very honorable. He worked hard, supported his family, still helps us quite a bit. Amazing human being, but his perception is reality. You work hard, you get a retirement, you get a pension, and you retire. My perception is completely different. And here's how I think you expand in my universal reality, your perception of reality. You fucking educate yourself. You start to question everything. Why not question everything? Just because your mom and dad did it that way, just because your grandpa did it that way, just because your teacher did it that way, just because your coach did it that way, how are we improving as human beings? Why in the 1950s do athletes look different than they do now? Because they question their perception of reality. I can go faster, David Bannister. If he stayed with the perception of reality that you can't break the 4-minute mile, then would we ever broke the 4-minute mile?
Right.
The Wright Brothers.
Man.
If the Wright Brothers didn't break the perception of reality, would we be flying to see our loved ones? And if someone gets sick, you get to jump in a freaking plane that you don't even question. You're in a plane at 30,000 feet in the air in this freaking tube, and you don't question it.
Right.
But you sit there and have this limited perception of reality. Steve Jobs, this smartphone thing, we're obsessed with it. And people probably thought he was crazy. You're gonna have the internet on here and you can research, and this is now your lymph node system. This is most of our brains now. So your perception is your reality. And there is no reality outside of your perception. So what we're working to do here is to expand people's awareness, not teach you what you should do, to expand your awareness on where are you in your perception of your reality. Are you happy with what you're doing with your life? Or do you wake up every day inspired and ready to go? Or do you wake up and go, shit, I gotta go to work.
Right.
Shit, I'm tired. Shit, that's not why you're here. You're not here to say, oh shit, all the time. You're not here to be tired every single day. You're not here to bitch and complain at your spouse every day. You're not here to live a mediocre life. You didn't get here, and the probability of you getting here, if you watch the Gary Vee thing, I think he made it popular on Instagram, how unbelievably hard it is to become a human being, that we all have different fingerprints, we all have different DNA, and Kevin, my amazing friend here, came in one day freaking out going, John, did you know women are the portal to the universe? Women, we can't be here without you. Think about that. Yep. And if you don't believe your thoughts become things, here we go. It's like the podcast. If you don't believe your thoughts become things, think about this. Your mom, your dad had to think about each other. And they had to think about getting together. And they had to think about going on a date. They had to think about doing all that stuff. And then one sperm out of a million had to think about getting impregnated in that egg that had to be ovulating at the right time for you to be here, but you think you're supposed to just wake up every single day. You're supposed to clock in. You're supposed to get yelled at by your boss who's on a power trip and tells you you're not worth it and gives you 3.5 raise and is using power and dominion over that they really don't have. And then you come home, you're miserable, you watch Game of Thrones because you want to have some excitement in your life. Oh, we could go on and on and on, right? You go to bed tired, you wake up tired, you bitch at your spouse, you start looking lustfully at other people because your bucket is empty, and then two empty buckets get together and it goes on and on and on. Divorce rates 50%, for second marriages with kids 75%. Life is not meant to be that because your perception is your reality, and there is no reality outside of your perception. That's the type of shit we talk about here. That we wanted to bring this to you guys because we're on a mission. To change people's perception of reality. Not to change people, just to expand your awareness that you're in control. To expand your awareness that if you look down and you see a belly, it's your fault. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with you though. I had a lady in here the other day, I was like, there's nothing wrong with you. You're normal. But we're not about being normal.
Was that your first leg day?
That was my first leg day
Oh,
ever.
the first leg day is always
I know.
the worst.
It was the day that my friend Janae came and he was saying, you haven't done a leg day. You know what? I have not, John. Somehow I missed him. It's like, shit.
Somehow.
Somehow I missed him. I said, well, let's do it, man. We'll just get it done.
Hey everybody, I'm Lito.
All right, we're back.
We're back, yes. So we're talking about we are not here to be normal. So, yeah, you got to listen to the podcast. I don't know which one it is, man. Anyways, it's coming up. But I've been going off of my podcast lately because I'm speaking from source. Call me crazy, but there's a source around me that's speaking through me, tells me what to say. Call me crazy, but it's source. I don't know what you want to call it. But here's the thing: we are not here to be normal. The chances of being here are extraordinary. We've talked about that, but we want to inspire you to dig deep. And how do you dig deep? So how do you do this? This is great that we talk about this, but let's talk about the how, right? You know what you do? You sit in fucking silence, man. Silence will give you the answer, because in silence and in darkness, your true self will manifest. When you sit in silence, it seems very uncomfortable. But when you start to practice sitting, I'm talking 15 seconds, just felt good, didn't it? Or did it feel uncomfortable? Didn't it? Because what's happening is, in silence, you will find the true you. If it's complete chaos, you have some work to do. If it's peaceful, you're on the right track. But remember, there's nothing wrong with you. But we don't want you to follow the norm. I mean, why would you want to be normal? We're not here to be normal. And then we see these extraordinary people like Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, The Rock. I mean, these people, they're just extraordinary individuals. They're no different than you. I'm no different than you. Kevin's no different than you. The only difference is our perception of our
reality.
That's it. We've expanded our awareness based on education and constantly studying, not listening to the news, educating our mind with good, healthy things. Now, are we right? I don't know. Are we wrong? I don't know. Your perception's your reality. Are we living a pretty damn epic life? I would say so. Are we wealthy? Absolutely. This is where wealth comes from. Has nothing to do with money. I've had the cars, I've had the houses, I've had it all. And will I have it again? Yeah. There's nothing wrong with a nice BMW, pretty fun to drive. Nothing wrong with a big $1 million home, nice to have. But that will never, ever be my identity. My identity is what people feel when they're around me. My identity is what I've done when I've walked away. When I walk away from that person, what have I done to impact that person's life? Mm-hmm. And our mission 2 years ago, when I started this with Jeremy, was to impact someone's life every day. We had a microphone with a pillow on a wall. And all we kept saying is impact someone's life every day. Let me talk about a couple things that have happened. We had a microphone with a pillow on a wall. And now we're in a recording studio right now. That's what you're in right now. We have a podcast. We have a badass facility here. Also, something that changed just recently on my podcast, I started saying I am the top health and mindset coach in the world. If you go to Spotify right now, you type in self-help, you click podcast, just look and see where the JV MPEX podcast is. You go to motivation, type in motivation, click podcast, just see where the JV Impacts podcast is. It's skyrocketed. When I started saying I am the top health and mindset coach in the world. Your perception is your reality. There is no reality outside of your perception. I mean, that's really it. So I want to leave you with, I'm hoping you're feeling a little uncomfortable. Seeking you will find, finding you will be dismayed or disturbed. Once you understand, you'll be astonished. And once you're astonished, you'll realize that you're actually a king or a queen. That's all I got.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, that's that's pretty much it. Appreciate y'all watching. We only want to help. We only want to expand your awareness. And so,
yeah, and your fitness.
And your fitness.
But you got to get your mind right before you take flight. Appreciate you guys. Love you. But damn well, don't let us love you more than you love yourself.